What's up guys, it's Bussy here. Today I'm profiling my gym set only lightning energy deck. Profile is going to be shown to you. What we're doing is we're looking at a format here where we are only using cards from the Gym Heroes and the Gym Challenge sets. You might have seen my previous video about Sabrina's Gengar on the channel. That was my first gym set only, and this is my second one where we are focusing at, well, some cards from Surge, some cards from Rocket, some cards from Blaine. Really, the idea is that we're trying to be fast and getting loads of energy out because we don't have to worry about energy removals unless our opponent's Pokemon has some energy removal capabilities. They're normally not going to be able to keep up with the speed that we have. So to get us off the ground, we're running 4 Rocket Zapdos. This is a typical Haymaker card. That single Lightning Energy Plasma attack for 20 is just golden. 70 HP is amazing. I love to play this card whenever I get a chance. I also must admit that I love the layout of the gym set cards with the little logo there. So Plasma not only allows us to hit for 20, if we have any Lightning Energy cards in our discard, we attach one of those to Rocket Zapdos. Once we have 4 energies, we can Electro Burn for 70. Unfortunately, Rocket Zapdos does damage to itself equal to 10 times the number of Lightning Energy cards attached to it, but it's still a massive attack off of a basic, and you're going to be able to pull this off potentially, turn 3 quite easily. Turn 3 quite easily, Electro Burn for 70, and 70 is usually a one-hit KO in the format. Even if it is to take our Zapdos away, if Zapdos has already taken a beating, and we can get a 2-for-1 KO situation. So if Zapdos already KO'd somebody with Plasmas, and then we finish off with Electro Burn, that's a-okay by me. It's all about the trades. So there you go, Rocket Zapdos, our starting point. It's not a bad start indeed. Then we have 4 copies of Surge's Electabuzz, and this is the one that I prefer because this shares the other Electabuzz, whilst it also has the charge attack, which for a single Lightning Energy, you take up to 2 Lightning Energy cards from your discard and attach them to Surge's Electabuzz. Then for 2 Lightning Energies, and remember you will have 3 if you pull off a full charge, you get 2 more from your discard. Then we have 3 Lightning Energies on Electabuzz. Electric Current deals a guaranteed 20, and you take 1 Lightning Energy card attached to Lieutenant Surge's Electabuzz and attach it to one of your bench Pokemon. If you have no bench Pokemon, discard that energy. This is our second attack. Plasma is the first one, Electric Charge is the second one that allows us to get energies back and attach them as additional attaches to our Pokemon. So both Pokemon are capable of circumventing the 1 energy per turn. It just requires a little bit of a setup. So Electabuzz likes to share. We can power up a Zapdos on the bench for 2 big Electro Burns potentially before Zapdos gets KO'd. I want to cover some weaknesses, and I have 2 copies of Blaine's Doduo in the deck. This is usually my go-to colorless in this format just because Wild Kick can potentially give you 20 damage. It is dependent on a coin flip, of course. But again, it's the 50 HP for me. That's a benchmark for a basic. I think, any basic that I even entertain needs to have at least 50 HP. Free retreat. You always need to have at least a couple of Pokemon that have free retreat that you can send up if your active gets KO'd. And retaliate can deal, up to 40 damage with 2 colorless. I particularly like Blaine's Doduo in base Neo in Blaine decks because that double colorless can easily be done with using a DC or using Blaine Trainer. We're not using Blaine Trainer in this deck, but it gives me this flexibility. The next Pokemon is a bit of a weird one. Brock's Vulpix, still 50 HP. And really, I'm just running Brock's Vulpix for the Hypnotic Gaze. The defending Pokemon is now asleep. And the reason why I'm doing this is because if our opponent's active is running some Pokemon power that's particularly pissing me off, putting them asleep will stop that Pokemon power. until obviously they wake up. So it's a guarantee to sleep, and I can use obviously a lightning energy because it's any color requirement. I won't be using firing, but it gives me this option. So one copy of Brock's Vulpix, you can easily take that out if you want to run something else. And then finally, where we want to go with Electabuzz's Electric Current, or even just by itself, Lieutenant Surge's Magneton is an absolute killer in this format. So Surge's Magnemite has its own nice, neat little tricks. It gives us free retreat 3, 4, 5. It also has a single energy attack. If the defending Pokemon has any energy cards attached to it, flip a coin. If heads, choose one of those energy cards and discard it. So we can potentially use Magnemite as an energy removal. And we also have Confusion, Pulse for 2 Lightning Energies, guarantee 20, and on a successful coin flip, a Confusion as well. I know it's got 30 HP, and I'm just highlighting the goodness of Magnemite in case your starting hand only has the Magnemites in it. Never start with a Magnemite if you can help it. Any of the other 11 basics will be good for that. 14 basics, you're gonna do, it's a pretty good ratio to make sure that you will have an active in your starting hand, but you never really know. This is obviously a format where there are no mulligans, so it is what it is. Nevertheless, we are looking at getting Magnemite onto the bench and evolving into Magneton as soon as possible, and this is where the cookie crumbles. Really pairs up nicely with Zapdos. It's got a massive attack, Mega Shock, 4 energy for 50 damage, and flip a coin if Tails Magneton does 20 damage to itself. Okay, well that's fair enough. However, the Pokemon Power energy charge is ridiculous. As often as you like during your turn, if at Lieutenant Surge's Magneton is your active Pokemon, you can take 1 Lightning Energy card attached to one of your Pokemon and attach it to Lieutenant Surge's Magneton. So really the point here is that you might be able to hold your front with the Zapdos, no questions asked, fantastic. However, just to make sure that the deck ticks along, obviously Zapdos is going to be soaking energies onto itself with Plasma, so Magneton can take advantage of that surplus. Or if you have a heavily damaged Zapdos, okay, well if you can get Magneton into the active position, just scoop all the energies on it and you're immediately going to be dealing 50 damage, not even caring that much about the 20 damage to itself if you flip badly. But Electabuzz, with that charge effect and with the electric current, can also nice and neatly feed Magneton, so it just gives you multiple options to set up your gameplay. That's ultimately what I was going for there. And again, in this format we don't have to worry about energy removals, so getting some Pokemon fired up quick and having to rely on 4 energies to be able to do a 50 HP swing is okay. There are of course Pokemon that can work in energy removal capacities, and I'm looking at also perhaps bringing you some decks like that in the future, but right now I'm just wanting to show you a very quick deck, how you can get a lot of damage out early on, and Zapdos, of course, Electabuzz and Magneton will be able to get all that for you. Now let's see how we get energies into our discard pile. So first of all, we need to start with the set favorite Misty's Wrath. Look at the top 7 cards of your deck, choose 2 of those cards, put them into your hand, discard the rest. So you pick 2 cool basics, or you get your Magnetons, or you get some other trainers. Pretty much as many energies as you see, you should discard them into the discard pile to make sure that we can fuel up the Plasma and the charge attacks. So once you get that done, make sure that you are fueling your discard pile as much as you can. The second best option for Misty's Wrath replacement will be Secret Mission. It allows you to get some information looking at your opponent's hand, and then you may discard as many other cards as you want from your hand and draw that many cards. Again, discard energies and draw something else to replace those energies. Keeps the deck moving, and again it makes sure that you are fueling your discard pile with energies. And then for Pseudo Misty's Wrath 9 and 10, we have 2 Blaine's Gamble. Blaine's Gamble Works really well with Blaine's Last Resort. We don't run any Blaine's Last Resort because I wanted to make space for some other cards. And it's a bit of risky one because you might not get any other benefit besides just being able to discard energies into your discard pile. It allows you to discard a number of cards from your hand, then flip a coin. If heads, draw twice that many cards. If you flip tails, then you get nothing. So that's the drawback of Blaine's Gamble, but that's kind of like the best alternate option after Secret Mission has been evaluated. And the main reason why I'm not running any more Blaine's Gambles and I'm not running any Blaine's Last Resorts is because we have 14 basics and we want our basics to be on the bench. So running good manners, anyway, it's a staple card in many base Neo decks. Yes, you have to reveal your hand to your opponent's deck, but ultimately in this format, many decks will be running Secret Mission anyway, so they'll probably already know what's in your hand. Show your hand to your opponent, make sure that there are no basics in it, and if you have no basics in it, you can search your deck for a basic and put it into your hand. So this will guarantee us a basic. Alright, so that's it for getting cards into our hands. Card advantage wise, 13 cards, not too bad. And we have to be clever in this format because we don't have Switch and we don't have Gust of Wind, but we do have Warp Point. And some people actually prefer Warp Point compared to Double Gust. I think Warp Point is pretty good because it allows your opponent chooses one of their benched to switch with their active, then I get to choose what I want to switch with my active. So not as good for us because our opponent chooses what they want to send up, but at least we get to also choose what we send up. Whereas Double Gust does it the other way around. I choose my opponent's, my opponent chooses mine. That particularly works in base Neo when all your guys are babies and they all have free retreat. You just do it back. You retreat back. That's not the case in this format, but Warp Point still allows us to, give the opportunity to move our active around. It gives us the full heal effect as well that we get with, of course, switching our Pokemon, and we can get something else off our opponent's bench, something to set up for a 50 attack Magneton or a 70 Electro Burn. There are some other ways how we can switch, however. I'm using 2 copies of Lieutenant Surge. When you play Lieutenant Surge, you have to have a basic in your hand. You put the basic Pokemon card from your hand into play as your active Pokemon, and your active Pokemon will be benched. You can't do this if your bench is full, but ultimately it allows us to, let's say you got a heavily damaged Electabuzz, you don't want to, or you don't have a Warp Point, maybe you don't want your opponent to send something else up. You got a Rocket Zapdos in your hand. The Zapdos is then played into your active role, the Electabuzz gets benched, so it still ultimately does what a switch would do, but you need a little bit more of a setup for it. And we are also running 3 Narrow Gems. Of course, the big reveal in the Gym Heroes set was the inclusion of gym cards. A Narrow Gym can play as a scoop up. As long as you have more than 4 Pokemon on your bench, then you decide one gets returned into your hand with all cards attached to it. Both players do that if they have 5 Pokemon on their bench. Because Narrow Gym restricts the size of the bench to just 4 places, and it can be used very tricky in that particular way that it can be a nice little scoop up. So whilst we don't really have many ways to heal our Pokemon in this format, we do have Brock to do that, and we do have Giovanni's Last Resort for a Giovanni Pokemon. Narrow Gym is one of our best ways to heal up. It's basically a scoop up. But we do have 1 copy of Erika's Kindness, where Brock heals all of your Pokemon for 1 damage, which can be okay, but it's not necessarily too great. Erika's Kindness says remove 2 damage counters from each Pokemon in play. That includes your opponents as well. But remember, when you're operating with such high damage output as 50 or 70, it could mean the difference between you being able to pull off another Electro Burn and keep your Zapdos for at least one more turn, or just to heal up if Magneton took some damage for itself. I've included this one Erika's Kindness just to give me some additional healing effect on top of Narrow Gym. I forgot to mention about Narrow Gym is that it also doubles up as a counter gym. Necessarily need to have one counter gym in any deck because, of course, you got loads of gyms in this format. Each trainer has its own gym. You also have Rocket's Training Ground. You also have Chaos Gym. You also have Rocket's, was it the Minefield one that you flip a coin and they potentially deal 20 damage to it. So we need some counter gyms, and the Narrow Gym doubles up. What I absolutely love about this format is that you have to be particularly careful. You have to be clever about how some of your cards can double up and how much efficiency you can squeeze out of a particular card. Your Pokemon do the brunt of the work to replace some of the trainer cards that you would be used to, but there are ample and alternate options, as you can see. So actually this format works pretty well because you still have access to Switch and Gust of Wind in the form of Warpoint. Lieutenant Surge doubles up as Switch as well. You can heal. There's a number of ways to heal. Again, we got Erika's Kindness, we got Brock, and we got Giovanni's Last Resort. And as I've just shown you guys, Narrow Gym can be also used as a good way of scooping a Pokemon up. So there you go, guys. This is it with 20 Lightning Energies. I opted for 20 because I do want to make sure that we're hitting at least 1 or 2 when we're using things like Misty's Wrath. So we need to fuel that graveyard. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you're interested in some more gym set only profiles, then let me know and I'll see what I can do. Up until next time, Bastian signing out. Peace.